So yeah, I don't know what's going on. But let's bring in, before we bring in Wood Street, the long-term residents of Wood Street Commons, located at 1707 Wood Street, received eviction notices from the city of Oakland. The eviction is scheduled to begin April 10th. The temporary restraining order has been lifted after Judge Orrick determined that adequate shelter, inverted quotes, was available for Wood Street residents at the new so-called community cabin site that is currently under construction at 26th and Wood. Many Wood Street residents have been living on this land for as long as a decade. Many residents moved to Wood Street from other locations around the city after Oakland police officers instructed them to move there. People were told they would not be bothered at Wood Street. We believe, this is from Wood Street residents, that given how long people have lived here, that we deserve more than, quote, adequate shelter. Additionally, the fact that these so-called evictions are taking place while Alameda County's eviction moratorium remains in place exemplifies the fact that Oakland's unhoused residents do not have the same legal rights as renters. Let's bring in Wood Street.
Hello.
You get an applause.
Wood Street Lydia here.
How are you?
Not too terrible under the kind of terrible circumstances.
How's the weather up there?
Oh, it's been beautiful except for yesterday. It was raining. It could have done without the rain, but been enjoying the sunshine the rest of the week though.
I've heard horror stories about the weather in the Bay Area. I'm about 10 hours south in Mexico right now, but I do still miss home, being that I lived on 2200 Wood Street, not too far from where you guys are right now.
So that's where they put the RV park, right?
When I went there to pick up my mail one day, and they had told me about the RV park, and I kind of saw something that looked cleared out, but it didn't look like what I thought it was going to look like, because some people had told me it was going to be a little safer and there was going to be lights and a security guard and a restroom. None of that happened.
Yeah, so the dump pile now that they said was the reason that they cleared us out is now just on the side of the RV park. And there was last week somebody burned somebody's RV and someone else got shot. So yeah, super safe. Getting our tax dollar maximum from all that money that's going to security.
So when I was there was a lot of RV, not a lot, there was enough RV burning. I saw enough RVs on fire to make me go, you hear one RV explode, that's one too many. You hear 7 explode.
I agree.
7 explode.
And if they really cared about the RV fires, then they would investigate or arrest somebody or, ask questions about it. Or, honestly, the truth is that they've known who's been doing it, and they just don't care that homeless people are getting their RVs burned. So
my last memory of living there was, and I don't have a gun, and I never had a gun, but I thought someone was breaking into my car. No, they weren't. It was someone that threw a Molotov at an RV.
Oh, that's all.
and the glass hit my car, and I was like, "Fuck!" And I went outside and I saw it. I was like, "Jesus!" And we were a bunch of us out there, watched it. It was like 3 a.m, and I was like, "Shit, dude, this is like the 6th RV I've seen catch on fire."
Good times.
So obviously it doesn't feel like a safe situation. What does the community cabins look like?
I mean, you say it doesn't feel like a safe situation, but here at Wood Street Commons, it's actually like a lot safer of a space than the general kind of Wood Street kind of sprawl community has been. We've actually had really a minimum of incidences here. No deaths that I know about, actually. We've had some overdoses that were reversed with Narcan.
Is the city helping you guys?
And there's been a few fist fights. We hear shots around on the block, more than we like, but nobody in here. Somebody might have got shot in here at some point, but
that's not really you guys doing all the shooting. Those are like other people doing all the shooting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
And some people just shoot guns off in
And
that area just to shoot guns off in that area, which is maddening.
yeah, a lot of the shots are people just
Yeah.
kind of showing off and, target practice.
That
That's
is
true.
okay. So this a friend told me this. So I lived in the rehearsal studio that was across the street, and a friend told me
Sound
a
wave.
friend told me he was loading in, and he saw a dude in broad daylight. This was a couple months ago, and it blew his mind. So a guy in broad daylight pull out a gun, and unload a whole clip into the camp, and then just take off.
Nice. Nice.
Did you hear anything about that?
I mean, it wasn't here. It
It
wasn't
was
here.
up the
It was
street more.
probably
Yeah, it
at
was
the
closer
RV
to
park.
us. It was closer to 2200. Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably
Yeah,
at the
it was
RV
at
park
RV park.
because that's where that stuff happens. It doesn't happen here. It happens at the RV park.
Why do people target the RV park, you think? Just because they can?
I don't know. Like, honestly, I think that their whole like security model, like have people do security that don't
Mhm.
live there, like exacerbates the poor security situation. It makes people angry. It makes people feel
Mhm.
oppressed. And they're not. They just sit there and watch. If a group of people comes in and shoots somebody like they did last week. And actually they had closed down the other RV park because a security guard was shot to death there. Was shot to death. And no charges were filed on the person that did it. Everybody knows who did it. I believe it was on video. No charges. Yeah.
So the solution one of the solutions that the city has is move everybody in tough sheds, literal tough sheds that you can get at the Home Depot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that? Just your own personal feelings.
I mean, it's not the tough shed itself that's so undignified. It's the checkpoints. The checkpoints and the cyclone fencing. I was just over at the RV park yesterday or the day before. I went to use the restroom, and on the way out, and I didn't go by the checkpoint because there's holes in the fence all over the place, and I didn't think I really needed to. But I went and used the restroom, and on my way out of the restroom, security tailed me all the way to my friend's RV where I went to pick up my dog, and chastised me for not being checked in at the checkpoint, and said that visitors are not allowed to use the restrooms at all. So I guess not sure what they're supposed to do, like pee in a bottle or.
Because there's a lack of public restrooms in Oakland, especially that area. There's just a lack of anywhere to use the bathroom. I don't even know where.
Yeah, I mean that's pervasive all across the Bay Area, and that's partly local government's fault. I mean, they need to make it a law that all the businesses have to have their restrooms open to the public. Like I raised my daughter in San Francisco, and trying to take her around the Tenderloin. A 3-year-old that has to go potty.
No.
Like not a good time.
You got to go all the way down to the mall to use the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the mall, but
I mean, yeah, in San Francisco, where are you going to use the bathroom?
At your house, pretty much.
What about Target? Does Target let you guys use the bathroom here and there?
Yeah, there's bathrooms at Target, and the mall does have adequate restrooms, but like you got to go all the way in there. It's very crowded. It's not great for people who have social anxiety. People I know or something.
So when you say checkpoints at the tough sheds, what do you mean by checkpoints at the tough sheds?
Well, you're not supposed to come in through any of the holes in the fence that are closer to your friend. You're supposed to sign in at the checkpoint. You have to go through an armored gate, and there's a checkpoint with a desk, and at least you don't have to give them your ID like you had to at the quote unquote supportive housing where I used to live. But there is a curfew, and you're not allowed to have friends or family after a certain time. I'm not sure exactly what the time is, but and there's no kids allowed there.
Interesting. So what if you have kids?
You don't have custody of. If you have kids, they don't serve you there. You're not. And actually, the new transitional housing, they're calling it, just refused one of our neighbors who is pregnant,
Really?
saying that she was a liability. Indeed.
She's a liability because she's pregnant.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yep.
is there
like huge lawsuit
is there
waiting to happen
permanent
there.
supportive housing that they do have for families? Because when I was there wasn't too many kids there.
Not permanent. I mean, maybe there's some resources that I'm not aware of, but I'm pretty hip to most of the resources. I used to be a more or less case manager in the city around that kind of stuff, and I keep my ear to the ground about that kind of stuff. And there just isn't a lot of housing. There's not a lot of low income housing at all. Never mind like family programs or places where you can have kids or have enough space for kids.
So kids aren't allowed in the tough sheds. Our kids are not allowed at the RV.
Or the RV
they
park.
are allowed at the RV park.
They're not allowed in the RV park. They're not allowed in the RV
park either.
No.
So if you have family, you're just SOL.
You don't get to hang out with them at your place.
Wow. So what are you guys asking the city? What are you guys?
What are we asking?
Okay. What are you guys asking the city for in your April 10th press conference?
We're asking for common sense and humanity. We're asking, I mean, our big ask is that they let us keep doing what we're doing here, which is essentially we're running an emergency shelter and a transitional housing program here with no funds or resources whatsoever. We're asking that the city just give us a little assistance in passing the RFQ so that maybe we could qualify for a grant of the more, I believe it's $60 million a year they've got in homeless money that is mostly getting just kind of embezzled by these nonprofits. We're already doing the work. We have a really amazing infrastructure with our community kitchen that neighbors depend on, for blocks around. They come and get food out of the community kitchen. We have events here all the time, open mics, poetry slams, bands play here. Like we're a cultural asset in the neighborhood. And we have a really awesome network of housed advocates who support us and volunteer and help us make this a more visually pleasing place and do art. And we've got a lot of traction here. And I think that that's really why they want to get rid of us, honestly.
You said because of the dumping?
No, like they don't want to get rid of us because of the dumping. Like they're proliferating the dumping. Like there's a phenomenon going here. I call it woodsploitation. Okay. And it's where we ask them for assistance or just like we ask them to let us mitigate an issue such as the illegal dumping. And we've been begging them for dumpsters for years. They won't give us a large size dumpster because they say that it'll exacerbate the illegal dumping, which is already that ship has sailed. Like people are already illegally dumping there. So they just they tell us to dump our trash on the ground, like at one end on the street, because they know that makes the neighbors hate us and it makes us hate ourselves. Nobody wants to live. Yeah, nobody wants to live in a trash dump.
To give people kind of an idea, I think I might have a picture somewhere. If I have it, I'll try to post it. I'll give it to MT to post.
They proliferate these conditions that we ask them to help us with, and then they, when they get a wild hair, they decide to move us out. They blame us for the conditions that they've been proliferating.
The dumping is pretty foul because the dumping also leaves. Before we came on, I heard you guys talking about rats, and the rats got just out of hand.
Because my dog likes to chase rats. Because my dog likes to chase rats. And actually, another thing about the rats, like they call this Dogtown because they used to experiment on dogs here, and I think that the rats of NIM here like are like dog clones or something. Like they're freaking bigger than your cat, man. It's crazy.
They're massive, and
Like if you don't make friends with them, like you're in
because of the
trouble.
dumping, and it's not to give people kind of an idea of the dumping. I don't know if people are, you know, if you're maybe
It's
it's
contractors. It's
coming, dumping their
contractors that
trash,
dump
and
here.
people that have those companies
Yeah.
that say things like, we'll pick up all the trash in your house for so much money. They're not going to the dump.
For cheap, and not pay
Yeah.
the dump fees that
They
they dump it here.
literally dump their trash on Wood Street. So it's actually, you know, if you're one of those people that uses those companies, you should really ask for a receipt from the dump, because we found so many IDs just strewn all over the place, old IDs and stuff.
Oh yeah, I've got a whole collection
Yeah.
of those, like that
It's
I've found on the, like.
it's sad. But
Yeah, contractors clear out apartments that people have been evicted from. It's kind of a mixed blessing, because a lot of the people here survive doing recycling out of the dumping. And we're really like doing a service by recycling, upcycling, and diminishing the waste stream that does eventually go to the dump.
well, what can the viewers do to help you guys out before April 10th?
Come out on Monday. Show your support. If you can't come out, write to the mayor, write to the Oakland district supervisors, write to the city administrator's office. Tell them that that we're doing good things here, and that we're doing important services, like above and beyond any of the service providers that Oakland is paying for, and that we're an important resource that Oakland needs, and doesn't need to bulldoze.
Is there any
There's also